Hello everyone. Today we will be working on the past year problems of 2025 for AMC 8. Since the AMC 8 exam is fast approaching, let's just understand a few questions from the past papers. We will be working on the first 5 problems in this video. So I hope you will understand them. Let's just go one by one. For the first question, this is the question. Let's read through it. It says the 8-pointed star shown in the figure below is a popular quilting pattern. What percent of the entire 4x4 grid is covered by the star? Let's try and understand what is meant by how do we find out the percentage in this case. If we read through it, the question's asking us for percentage of the entire 4x4 grid. So that's what we have to find out. And since it's a 4x4 grid, we can see that the total number of squares in it is 4 times 4, which is 16 in total. And now I have to count for how many is the shaded portion. To look at the shaded ones, we can see that these triangles just cover exactly half of a square. So if I combine two triangles, that would make one whole square. So one whole square on the top, one whole square on the bottom, one whole square on the side, and one whole square here on the left hand side. So that makes four whole squares. And if I count the middle ones, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 more squares. So 4 from the sides and 4 in the bottom makes the total shaded area as 8. Since I have to find out the ratio, the percentage of the entire grid that is covered by the quilting pattern, the percentage can be done as 8 over 16, which is the shaded divided by the total, multiplied by 100. This is 1 half multiplied by 100, and 1 half multiplied by 100 will give me 50% as my answer. So my answer for the first part is 50%. Similarly, let's just move to the second question. So the first question was pretty easy, and as you already know, for AMC, the initial few questions are easier. We just have to read through them carefully. Let's read through the second question now. The table below shows the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs that were used to present different numbers. For example, in this, one symbol has been given for 100,000. Second symbol has been given for 10,000. Then you have a symbol for 1,000, 100, 10, and 1. They've also given an example which says for the number 32, it was represented by 3 symbols of the tens and 2 symbols of 1. They have asked us and given us a symbol that represents a following combination. They've asked us to represent it in numbers. Now, to understand this, it is like writing down a number in the number system in the expanded form. For example, if I write down 32, I write down 32 as 3 times 10 to represent it is at the tens place, and 2 times 1 to say that it is at the ones place. Hence, it is important to understand that any given number that we've been asked, we just have to represent it in a certain form. Now, looking at this, we have one symbol for 10,000. We have 4 different symbols for 100 here. And we have 2 symbols for 10 and 3 symbols for ones, which means it is a 10,000 plus now 4 symbols for 100, which would mean 400. 2 symbols for tens, so means 20. And 3 symbols for the dashes, which indicates 1, which means 3. So our answer must be 10,423. So it was nothing but just to write down the number in the expanded form. Very easy question, just to interpret it quite carefully. Let's go over to the third question now. Buffalo Shuffle is a card game in which all the cards are distributed evenly among all the players at the start of the game. When Anika and 3 of her friends play Buffalo Shuffle, each player is dealt 15 cards. Suppose 2 more friends join the next game, how many cards will be dealt to each player? So something to read effectively in this question is that it says that there's a card game being played where Anika and three of her friends, which means in total there are four people playing the game. And when the cards are distributed evenly, by meaning that they are distributed evenly, it means that they are distributed equally among all of them. We can see that each person gets 15 cards. So the information that is given to us in the question is that when four people play the game, each person gets 15 cards. This will can give us the total number of cards, which is 4 times 50, which is 60 cards. Now the question says, suppose two more friends join the next game. So if you can interpret how many total people are now there, 4 plus 2, which makes it 6 people now. And the question that we need to answer in this case is that now how many people, how many cards will be given to each people? So 60 cards in total, evenly distributed among 6 people, makes the answer as 10 cards per person. Very easy to interpret. C option is our answer. So it was just about reading the question carefully and playing the Buffalo Shuffle game, right? So few of the questions which are very easy and can give you a lot of marks in the first 1 to 5 questions. Fourth question. It says Lucius is counting backwards by sevens. His first three numbers are 100, 93, and 86. What is his 10th number? Now, the question is that when you count backwards by sevens, what do you think do you do? When you count backwards by 7, what you do is you keep subtracting by 7. Keep that in mind that you keep subtracting by a 7. So minus 7 in that case. But the numbers given to us start from 100. And what are we expected to do here is to find out the 10th number. Now use effective strategies to answer your questions. A lot of you might say that, Miss, we can just keep subtracting 7 every time and go on all the way up till the 10th number. But that's not an effective strategy. To solve for questions quicker and faster, it is important that you use the correct strategy to go about it. So, for example, the appropriate strategy to solve this question would be to observe that this is a question for arithmetic progression because each term is being subtracted by a 7 to obtain the next term. So, to use the strategy of the arithmetic progression, you know the general term in an arithmetic progression an can be written with the formula a plus n minus 1d. This is an arithmetic progression. An arithmetic progression is a sequence of numbers in which every subsequent term is obtained by adding a fixed constant. If this is subtracting, doesn't make a difference because we can say we are adding a negative 7 every time. So don't get confused with addition or subtraction. And the general term formula for an arithmetic progression is a plus n minus 1d. Now to solve for it, what does n indicate, what does a indicate, and what does d indicate? N stands for the number of term that you want to calculate. A stands for the first term in the sequence and D stands for the common difference in the sequence. Here as I can see, my common difference in the sequence is negative 7 because we are adding by a negative 7 every time, or we can say we are subtracting a 7 every time. The first term in my sequence is 100. So A is 100, D is negative 7, I can say. Now to think about, because the question says that I want to find out the 10th term, which means my n is 10. To solve for it further ahead, I will just substitute these values in my formula. 100 plus n minus 1, which is 10 minus 1, into minus 7. Now if I solve for it, it is 100 plus, because 10 minus 1 is in brackets, I will subtract that first, 9 times minus 7, which gives me 100 minus 63, which will give me my answer is 37. Now, if you do not understand the formula, you can obviously keep subtracting by 7, but arithmetic progressions is an important concept to learn specifically when appearing for AMC 8. And the formula is also not very difficult. It's the same thing what you would have done while you would have subtracted 7 every time. It's just that we subtracted it 9 number of times because we want to get to the 10th term. To get to the second term, you can see you're subtracting 7 once. To get to the third term, you're subtracting 7 twice. That is why that formula has been constructed. 100, you are taking out 9 sevens out of it to do the backward counting. So this is a really good question on arithmetic progressions, really easy one, which can be effective to solve for and score a point. Let's move to the fifth question now. Betty drives a truck to deliver packages in neighborhood whose street map is shown. Betty starts at the factory labeled F, drives to the location A, so it is from F to A to B to C and then back returning to F. What is the shortest distance in blocks she can drive to complete the route? Now, here as you can see that there are squares being made, but we have to find out the shortest distance given to travel from one place to another. Now, to travel from one point to another, like for example, let's just take the easiest example, which is to go from F to A. Now, if I was to go from F to A, I could go like this, I could go this way, or I could go in a slightly tilted manner, right? But what do you think will be the shortest distance to travel? The shortest distance to travel definitely is going to be working along the edges of the square grids, which is going from F from here and here. Even traveling in the middle won't make a difference. It will still give me 3 blocks to travel, but I have to try to minimize the path such that I get the shortest distance. So F to A is giving me 1 block and 2 block, which is 3 blocks in total. Now coming on to A to B, you can think effectively, how will we go from A to B? Just count the number of blocks without moving in a very zigzag pattern or without effectively crossing unnecessary blocks. We just go from A to the corner and then travel to B once again. This is A to the corner is 3 blocks once again, and from the corner to B is 7 blocks once again. So that's 10 blocks in total from A to B. So F to A has taken me 3 blocks. A to B has taken me 7 plus 3, a total of 10 blocks. That is what is important, to count it in the most shortest way so that I can get my answer effectively. So F to A 3, A to B 10. Now similarly, if I want to travel from B to C, I will take the path along this, which is I have 4 blocks traveling vertically and then 2 blocks horizontally, which makes it 6 blocks in total. Again, to go from C to F, I can either follow a pattern like this or I can follow a pattern on tops. The answer would still be the same, and I'll get 4 plus 1, 5 blocks in total. So I just have to keep in mind that this is not a tricky question. The question is to just look at the shortest ways you can travel such that you can travel from all these points. And if I add 3, 10, 6, and 5, that will give me my answer as 24, which is the C option. So the idea is to just travel in the shortest way from one possible to another. There's not a lot of technicality behind traveling from the shortest distance. You're not taking any permutations and combinations, but the idea is to solve for it effectively such that I get the shortest distance. So I hope you understood these easy problems of AMC 8. So the first 5 questions are something you can crack even without thinking a lot, right? I hope you understood the problem and can devise effective strategies to solve for these questions. All the best.